unite with a Boba Fett swagger and the Jedi's in sight. It's a comic book cocktail, shaken and stirred. We're the coolest cats in the whole nerd herd. Grab your badge and strike.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. It's been a minute. I mean, our last one that we did was at Anime Fest
last weekend. Yeah. It has been a little hectic, and a lot of that's me. But you know,
2 weekends ago.
What's that? 2 weekends ago.
Last weekend was the 4th.
That's right, holiday weekend. Dang it. Well, last week we didn't do a podcast. I can't remember why we didn't do it last week. I think we were just busy. Oh, and you had your wife's birthday, and I had stuff going on, so we thought
right.
It was to wait.
Yeah, it was actually, because Jessica was going to go up and spend time with her family on the 4th and blow up lots of fireworks. We did her birthday dinner a little early. We got a "What's up, guys?" from Kelly. Hey, Kelly.
Hey, Kelly. I got something to show you. You might like.
Dude, this is family friendly. Don't show them what you were going to show them.
I can just show them now before everybody else.
I don't care if it's your girth certificate. No.
It's
leave the
it's
hand
not done yet,
alone.
and He-Man's not on it, but that's the Battle Cat. Look at how big that boy is.
Nice, my man.
He-Man's done, and he's sitting over there with the dinosaur. I'm at gluing and puttying stage on everything, and now that I don't have Anime Fest, I can actually do some of that. So I'm digging it. So you were saying Jess went up to do fireworks and everything. You were at home by yourself last weekend?
Yeah, it was great.
Oh fuck! I need to learn that trick.
Yeah, it's just me because I had to make sure the dogs were okay with all the fireworks. But with us, I mean, even though there was still fireworks in my neighborhood, it was not the demilitarized zone it has been the years before, just because they have ran the cost of fireworks up so high.
I always do this. I've done it since I was a kid, though. I look at fireworks and I go, man, I could go spend $80 on these fireworks, or I could go buy this like issue of some particular comic I've been wanting to get for years or something. And that's how I was forever. And then I had kids, and then you make the sacrifice and you go do stuff for your kids. Now I'm older and I only have one kid to take care of, and everybody around us buys stuff. So I'm at that. Is it even worth? I mean, I went and bought stuff for the grandkids this year, but is it even worth going and buying the fireworks?
It is. I mean, because right now Christine is, what is she, 10?
Yeah.
So she's not going to be what?
11. She turned 11 last week, I think. So yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah,
well, happy birthday to her.
Yeah.
Well, so she's not going to be setting off huge fireworks. So if you just spend, like $30-$40 on, some stuff that she can set off and be happy with, then it's all good.
Yeah, and see, that stuff I'm easy with for the kids. To me, I go, like, we do festivals and stuff all the time. So you get there, and some of the festivals will be doing fireworks and stuff. And after a while, I guess you just get so disenchanted with it. Or I do, at least. I get disenchanted, and I'm not that young guy anymore that we used to shoot Roman candles at each other and blow up each other's firework stashes and shit like that. So
yeah.
It's hard to justify it, and the cleanup the next day. The old man in me drives out, watches everybody else sweeping the streets, trying to put everything up against the curb. And I'm like, oh, good. I don't have to do that shit,
See, that's where I just start going, okay, big brain people, we use leaf blowers. I don't know why you're out there sweeping when there's leaf blowers that you can use.
Well, it's because they're buying the big mortars. The leaf blower is not quite powerful enough to.
I got a good leaf blower.
I'm making this shit up. Cookie's going to be in here in a few minutes. He is in the other room right now chatting with my wife. But once he gets in here, we'll include him in the chat. I got a couple things to go over today. Our big thing was last episode we only talked a little bit about AFW because we did it Saturday morning instead of Sunday morning.
Yes.
We'll cover that a little bit, but we're not going to go in detail or in depth over it. Probably going to be talking a little AI today. I know I'm going to be talking a little Marvel today. And other than that, I think we're just going to hit in chat because we were also going to be at the Burrow, and our good friends at the Burrow are expanding. and they were like tearing out walls and everything.
I am very happy for them. I'm happy that they're going to be expanding. They need to have more space because they are they were very compacted in there. And so if they're expanding, I am very happy for them.
Well, that and they're so good about like giving us space, giving gamers space.
Great.
The Star Trek guys, I think, meet in there, don't you guys? Or
Now,
who
if
do you
if they're getting more space just because we're coming back once a month, I've got some notes on how I want our theater laid out.
Yeah. Permanent internet connection, we just pop right onto, and yeah, shit. Then I might be up there every week. Then,
Yeah.
no, I think they're just setting it up better, get more gaming space for everybody, and be able to have some bigger events, things like that. And I don't want to bug them
that'll
and
be
go.
really good for them.
Yeah, I don't want to go like, hurry up, we want to come back. I'll let them finish their thing, and then we'll come back when they're.
I'm sure they will be done by the beginning of August.
Oh, I'm sure.
So who knows? We may be broadcasting from the new Burroughs, establishment. I was going to say studio, but let's not put words on there.
Yeah, don't get ahead of ourselves.
We got something from Carol and something from Kelly up. If you want to read those up,
I guess I should jump over to chat here real quick. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
And then we'll get into our geekgasms and ship for this week. There we go. All right, Carol said my dad would buy stuff like snakes, poppies, stuff like that. Then we got older, and he would have us. Sorry, he would have us buy it ourselves.
Yeah, so yeah, they and that's the whole thing is you've got to graduate up on your own. I remember at one point when my dad came out with he had somehow gotten a hold of off of base a grenade simulator. So it was like a full on, looked like a grenade. You toss it down, it's got the big, and it actually put a good crater in the ground. So that was a fun one. Yeah, I wasn't allowed to set that one off for some reason.
See, now I've done that but I live in Kansas, so it wasn't like my military dad. It was my redneck buddies and shit that they would like make little pipe bombs and stuff. And then we'd always end up with shrapnel and clean up.
Oh, God, yeah.
And I lucked out a couple years ago, too. I guess this kind of got me off my fireworks kick was my dad and I did a job where a guy had passed away, and we went and helped the auctioneer like get all his affairs in order. And this guy did all the fireworks, like the big city display for Halstead, Kansas. So there was a ton of fireworks in there that we had to dispose of properly. There were some we could sell, and then there were some that were not sellable that the auctioneers then had to decide what they wanted to do with. And they like, any of that you guys want, take. So we were taking like quarter sticks of dynamite and stuff.
Wow.
And, yeah, because he not only make all the fireworks, he took care of like all the every time the creek or the river there would have debris, he would go in and with his tow truck or dynamite and clear the debris. So we ended up like Gabe, bless his heart, in his 20s is shooting off fireworks that are mortars. I mean, I got a mortar cannon that is 12 inches in back still.
Wow.
That they gave me going, you can use this for your pirate ship, right? Sure, why not?
Yeah, sure.
Right. So
yeah, that's one way to clear out the competition.
We didn't have to buy any fireworks for a couple of years off of that, but nice. I'm at that point where I'm buying.
But you got to be careful. Those things, the longer they sit, the more volatile they become.
Well, and that's where we are now with it. Gabe's got a couple left, and I'm like, I would rather you just shoot them off or get rid of them at this point because when that guy had passed away, I know none of the stuff was stored quite properly, and it was one of the few times I called Biggin because I knew he had gone through the pyrotechnic school and stuff and said, could you check some of this out to make sure it's even like the stuff we're taking is safe to take? But I'd say we buried multiple pallets of explosives that they had to set off and buried just to, get rid of them. So,
yeah, I've used old fireworks before, just their standard stuff, and I learned my lesson when the fuses became a lot faster, and I was barely able to get a couple of them out. I mean, just literally, and it was immediately boom city. So that's when I was like, you know what, screw this crap, I'm done.
Yeah. Kelly says, I remember that auction. You found guns in the suitcase. I did. There was a huge pile of debris where like a roof had caved in, and everybody was like, oh, just shovel it all up and throw it away. And the pack rat collector in me was like, oh, when I get some free time, I'm going through it. And sure enough, I found a suitcase just full of guns. They had water damage, but, turned them over to the auctioneer. But there was we found a bunch of stuff that guy had in there. He put money in the walls, all sorts of stuff. Like
one of those people.
All those. Well, there was also, I don't want to call too much out. There was we found a lot of cats, we'll say, and they weren't with us anymore. So he had collected, to the point where my dad and I even thought about selling petrified cats on eBay once because they were so plentiful, and having mummified cats is actually worth money. And I was like, everybody's going to think I'm killing cats the amount we found.
Wow.
Yeah, we had to get the Humane Society out there and everything. It was a little rough. Kelly said they brought good money. I did not see what they went for, but I did watch a lot of the other stuff. A lot of the cars and the houses and stuff. Also, Kelly had said the Superman movie comes out tomorrow. I've seen the reviews. It's either love it or hate it. We're going to cover that a little bit. Wait for Cookie to get in here because I was chatting with him briefly on it. So while we're waiting on him, maybe we should hear our you have any geekgasms this week?
I'm truly the only geekgasm that I have is finally getting to order those tricorders.
Oh, those are cool though.
Yeah, it's really cool. Those were expensive, but they will make their money back. I bought 2 of them, and one of them will stay in the box, and in 4 or 5 years I'll sell it off and make a profit on it. And the other one's going to be for me to play with because, gosh darn it, I get to play with it. And but yeah, it is the new Wand Company tricorder for those who don't know. And go ahead and Google it, look it up. It is very, very cool screen accurate prop with a lot of bells and whistles on it. So I'm really excited. But unfortunately, their prediction for when it's actually going to arrive is next week. And let me see, Tuesday, Jessica goes in for her surgery on Tuesday.
That's why I was just going to say, I think you jumped over when you said a lot of bells and whistles. That was my favorite part of them, was all the bells and whistles.
Oh yeah, it does like everything. It's got like 8 little discs that you can swap out, so it'll switch between things. It's got the little screen, and it will, play audio records from the original series, all of the captain's logs, all of the picture stuff. It's got sensors in it to read temperature, humidity, barometric pressure. It's got sensors in it to detect electromagnetic fields. It's got compass and gyroscope and all kinds of stuff. So you can play to your little heart's content with it, pretend you're on your little away mission, or just look at it like me and pet it. Because
I was going to say, could you imagine being like, even just 20 years ago, and somebody go, oh no, you'll have a tricorder or a phaser one day, and with your tricorder you can actually make calls and shit or whatever. I wouldn't believe it, even half the shit that these packs and stuff do with the Ghostbuster stuff. It seems extreme, having them hooked up to Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and all that shit.
Well, hell, my best friend Zach, he just his birthday was on the 5th. And his wife, for his birthday, got him a new pellet smoker. All right. And the pellet smoker is Wi-Fi and Bluetooth enabled, so he can control it from work.
Oh,
he can keep an eye, see when the roast, gets to the right temperature, go ahead and shut it off, dial it back, turn it up, whatever he needs to do.
I've seen that right now. We're going through a boom with packs. Like I bought that new pack a couple weeks ago. So with the new pack coming out, some of the old packs start going, and what I've been seeing is a lot of people going back and buying the old packs because all the things you can add now, that the aftermarket shit you can add, makes the old packs almost more valuable because they're lightweight and guttable and everything else. So the new packs come out with a bunch of cool shit, but the old packs are worth more in a sense because you can modify them with all the new shit that comes out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense, but I wonder what kind of bells and whistles would you put on? And he's talking about a Ghostbusters
Well,
pack.
proton pack. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Which
So
I should say.
on that proton pack, what
Well,
would
there it
you
is.
add besides just some blinky lights?
Oh yeah, like if I push one button, I want smoke to come out and it smell of marshmallows. That would be great. And another one to where I can cue any freaking song from the original soundtrack. That would be awesome too. Maybe a couple cool quotes in there. I
That
also
would
want.
be that would be able to do with just putting in like a Raspberry Pi
Yep.
thing. We could put that in with the SD card slot. We could load up all of the music and stuff like that, so you could have the music play, including the one that they danced to at the birthday party.
Yeah, see, I would I would even do that generic goofy little dance. I'd be all right.
I feel much better now.
You look lighter.
On here, I told everybody you're in there talking to my wife. I didn't want you to make it look like you were taking a dump or something.
Well, you liar! I could hear you. I was in there.
I not
No,
say
no.
he was talking like I
No,
know that
no.
bitch.
As soon as the video
Yes.
was rolling, he kept saying he's in there talking to Christy.
Kristen says mine was might be that I finally beat Baldur's Gate 3 this week.
Wow.
Very nice.
That's what Gabe's been playing that too, and
Yeah, that's one of my stories. Actually, is the fact that what is it here? Baldur's Gate 3 took Game of the Year at the Gaming Awards. No, the GAYMING, praised for its storytelling, LGBTQ plus representation, and continued player lore. So that's it. It's still winning awards. So good to go.
Baldur's Gate, those has been great as far as accuracy. Like when I played Baldur's Gate, it made me feel like I was playing D&D again. Like it literally made me feel like I was playing the game.
Even the old Baldur's Gates, the 1 and 2 were really fucking good, man.
Yeah, they were. I remember playing those as well. It was very D&D feel. It was very turn-based, kind of thing. The only thing missing was a THAC0, but that's just me. It's not D&D without a THAC0, damn it.
that doesn't come till 2nd edition, anyways.
Kelly says
you saying it wasn't in the red box with the wax crown?
No.
The non-licensed wax crayon. You got to throw that in there. It can't just be any wax crayon. It's got to be a nondescript, non-licensed wax crayon.
I mean, I swear, if you sniffed it, it smelled like birthday cake. I mean, it was just a straight up candle without the wick.
Kelly says, "Hey Tim, you jackass."
What's up, Bubba? I didn't see that coming. Kind of like a blind gay guy. I didn't see it coming.
I was going to do my.
Speaking of jackass, hey Tim.
Well, fuck you.
Hey, did you get what I sent you last week?
I have no idea.
I made him send it to me too.
What is it?
Okay, so last week I was listening to one of my podcasts, and on it the gentleman was talking about all the cool free stuff that you can do with Google Gemini, which is their AI.
This is not what I thought you sent. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it is. It'll get there. And while he was listing everything off, I was like, I got an idea. All right. So I went and I used the Google research, Gemini research factor, and had it do a deep dive on the correlation between Bigfoot and UFOs, what they have in common with each other, and
There's quite a bit, actually.
Hold on. And what is being done in order to try to quell that, the conspiracy behind them trying to quell that. And I had to do a deep search on that one. And you know how fast AI clicks over and does stuff?
Right.
It was a 15-minute search that went through over 60 different resources and compiled it all into a paper together for me. Then I took that and I went over to Notebook LM, which is one that anybody can use. And from there, you can take whatever thing that you want to study or something like that, and you can take your documentation, hand it off to it, and it will generate a 2-person podcast where 2 people talk about the subject matter. And that generated a 40-minute podcast that I went ahead and grabbed that link and I sent it to you. So you could listen to a 40-minute podcast of what AI found out about Sasquatch and UFOs.
Angie, I got to read that. Angie.
No,
fucking-
listen to it. It's a podcast. Listen to it.
Angie fucking gets my phone and plays bingo on us, some bitch. And when people send me shit, she's just like, "Yeah, I'm playing bingo. Fuck it." I'm like, damn it, woman.
I got a child like that as well.
Yeah.
I know how it works.
So does he. Anyway,
No, it's one of those things because we always talk about doing
I just got that, Daryl. That was cute.
some cryptid shit on here, but
I'm gonna have to send that to that Brad Butcher fella that
does the
Crypto-
Bigfoot?
yeah, he's up in Colorado right now, and they found some Bigfoot made structures, or they believe they're Bigfoot made.
In fairness, Bigfoot made structures are often there's 2 sticks or 3 sticks in a pyramid like shape, and that bothers me sometimes.
When a tree is broken in the forest in a natural setting, it rarely breaks at a 90-degree angle.
I'll give you that.
Okay, so it'll break
unless another branch hits it.
so let me get this straight. If a tree breaks in the forest and nobody sees it, Bigfoot did it.
correctamundo.
But oddly, it didn't make a sound. It's weird. Yeah.
No.
No, but if they break in the forest and then they're propped onto other trees to where they're at a 90-degree angle, the odds of that happening in real life are slim for it to be 90 degrees. It'd be a little off one way, the other way, and for it to be broken the way they break, because naturally they'll break and splinter out and fray out.
Mm-hmm.
But these will be broken like something grabbed a hold of them and went snap, and it's a nice snap right in the middle.
Now, see, I'm a cryptid believer in a lot of cryptid stuff. That the Bigfoot structures, though, is one I struggle with.
There's
a lot.
some of that that's just like, yeah.
They just seem so.
Or somebody came out camping and threw some shit together. No, you couldn't break these.
I'll put it this way: I'm still cleaning up trees from 2 weeks ago from everything that hit my house. I have seen some Bigfoot structures in my driveway next door. I literally have. I mean,
Well, some of those are just horse shit.
yeah.
But some of them you need to kind of look at. I mean,
no, I totally get
and when
that.
it's a green tree, a tree that's alive and well and supple, that's been broken, instead of an old tree that maybe the wind blew or caught some ice and then snapped or something. No, I mean a tree that has no reason being broken. That's still wet, still trying to put water up through the trunk from the roots.
It's the God of the gaps, man. It's the God of the gaps.
Yeah.
God
What?
of the gaps.
God of the gaps is, pardon, atheist. It is that whole thing that where in some debates that occur, all right, I'm trying to do this all nice. In some debates that occur, whenever science has found something out, then, those who wish to have more woo-woo in their life will say, okay, well, what point has science gotten up to? Okay, well, then anything past that is got to be, something, extra, something beyond science. And then every time that science finds out more, it's a ever receding goal. And, the God, it's called a God of the gaps. Just look it up. It's a debate.
I still go with the old Sherlock Holmes theory. You eliminate everything.
That's not Sherlock Holmes. That's Occam's razor.
Occam's razor, but Sherlock Holmes says it. Okay, you eliminate everything.
He also said, "Gee whiz, this cocaine's great. Give me some more."
Fucking A, he did too. Yeah,
yeah, but that's how he found Bigfoot, dude. You do not vote
this
cocaine.
fuck both of you guys.
Okay.
I'm not even gonna say it.
No,
those, if you know, you know.
We're playing devil's advocate here to you, and just point out where you are wrong. But
whatever, dude.
I'm kidding. I am a cryptid believer in a lot of weird shit, but
I don't believe that Daryl is a true atheist, because true atheists don't believe in anything, and he believes in nothing. So he believes in something.
I see where you're trying to go there.
Yeah.
I've known Daryl long enough that I've heard him talk for an hour about nothing. So he knows a lot about nothing. But yeah, no, I would I'd venture to say that he's in safe atheist territory. I would say.
But he knows a lot about a lot of things too, though. He does.
Yeah, and he can be wrong about this one. It's okay. I still love him. All right.
Yeah. And that's one of the things about being somebody who's steeped in science, is realizing that there's a very high probability that you're wrong. And you
Well-
have to be able to adjust your views based on what's observed instead of ignoring observations so faith can be preserved. But
Hey,
anyway,
just to be safe, I'm gonna pray for you, brother. I love you.
that's okay. I'll think for you. All right.
All
I
right.
will say it just for because this is probably not a great topic to be on, but as a Christian, for those that know me, some of the
Oh, yeah.
best religious conversations I've had is with Daryl.
Yeah,
So
it's sure.
it's not a hate thing or anything like that.
No, no. As we preface every discussion that we have like that, we both realize going into it that I'm not going to change your mind, you're not going to change my mind, but we can have a good discussion.
But you know what I know about Daryl is he just loves to argue. He
No, I
wasn't
just
you.
love being right, but you take it as an argument because you're wrong so often.
Oh, I was wrong that one time when I thought I was wrong, but I was really right. That's the only time I can.
Well, let's get going because I got some politics to bring up next, guys.
Okay.
No. So my geekgasms, since it's been 2 weeks, I'm going to just go through them real quick. I got me 2 ecto plates. Oops.
Oh, nice.
Really cheap. This is stuff that came in, most of it, while I was at Anime Fest. I got this at Anime Fest. I have the first Japanese version of the first book, so I got the second. You guys saw this one, but the cool thing, I had gotten Carrie Coons, who, oh yeah, go ahead.
Just a simple question. Have you ever looked into whether or not Ecto 1 is taken as a personalized license plate yet?
I have not, but I am sure it probably is. I couldn't imagine it.
See?
Not.
But if everybody's operating under the assumption that I'm sure it's gone, maybe it's not.
He's got a point there.
It's a good point. I should probably look into it.
That's like the dude that sounds like the dude that like copyrighted a Happy Birthday song. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
I'll do it once I buy my Ecto. So here I got Carrie Coons. She's in all the new Ghostbusters movies. She's one of the main people.
Yeah.
I got an autographed picture of her. I got it real cheap from a guy online that I buy from regularly. I was very happy with it. It came in while we were at Anime Fest, and I came home Sunday night to a package soaked in the rain.
Oh,
It
no.
was totally soaked. And I thought, oh, that's that autograph picture. I won't be able to get it that price again. So I opened it up, and not only had he put it in the sleeve, he wrapped it in a comic bag, then wrapped it all in bubble wrap, and then put it in the sleeve to put it in the cardboard sleeve. So it was
That is
dry as a
great.
bone, saved the whole thing. I was tickled to death because that would have just been on me at that point. And so that was my geekasm, just knowing that I almost lost that good deal and did not. So,
Dude.
yes.
Yes.
I went to the Kansas Department of Revenue personalized plate availability. I looked up passenger vehicle, City of Wichita, plate type. I typed in Ecto 1. It is available.
Holy shit. Now you just said that. So my friends on here, fucking Kelly will have that in 2 days. Don't do that.
And then he'll sell it to you.
No,
Yeah, Kelly, if you do that, I hate to say it, but we
Kelly
will
won't
have
do that.
words. Do not fuck with John on this.
I was just kidding. Kelly won't do that.
All right.
Kelly or Kristen said, I think I saw this weekend. Actually, I must have missed that. The word supple coming out of the mouth just sounds odd.
Coming out of Cookie's mouth, yeah.
Cookie's lucky to remember what he had for breakfast. I don't know. When you're talking about a meal, I bet he remembers
Oh,
that
fucking
shit.
ain't right, I do.
He'll talk about meals he cooked me 10 years ago. Sometimes I'll talk about meals he cooked me 10 years ago sometimes. So news-wise this week, I'm going to hit mine. Get them out of the way now. Cookie's here. First one wasn't a big deal. Ironheart came out. A lot of people bashing on it. A lot of people don't care for it. But the big news is that they had finally cast Mephisto. And they've been teasing for 10 years, I think, since the first Spider-Man movie came out. And they did cast us. I always fuck it up. Sacha Baron Doyle, right?
Sacha Baron Cohen?
Yeah, him. I always want to say Sacha Conan Doyle. I want, it's so bad. I want him to have written Sherlock Holmes.
God, what was that character that he played?
Borat.
Borat. So they cast the guy who played Borat.
Yes, and really, it's perfect casting in my mind. It is hands down. Like if I were to pick somebody in Hollywood to play him, he would be in the top 5 easy.
I hear he was a runner up to play Freddie Mercury for for that movie.
He was originally cast as Freddie Mercury. He was actually the Freddie Mercury. He pulled out. They didn't give him much creative control in it at all. But yeah, they were already in pre-production.
I thought that what happened is they put it in front of the band members, and one of the band members, like Brian May or somebody, had said, "No, I don't want Borat to be playing Freddie Mercury or something."
The guy they got to play Freddie Mercury rocked it out of the park, though.
Oh yeah, I forget his name. He's really good.
Mr. Robot or Mr. Robot.
Yeah. So I think the interview you're talking about, and it was Brian May. He, I think what it was Sasha.
Rami Malek.
Sasha wanted the movie to be more about Freddie Mercury and less about the band legacy.
Yes.
And they were like, we still have a band, and a lot of these people put in a lot of good work. We're not making a Freddie Mercury movie. We're making a Queen movie. And that's what it boiled down to. And I think Sasha was just really pushing. Like, he wanted to put his own elements on the story, that kind of thing. And I do think you're right that Brian May was the one that said no. But he was cast. I mean, it was all going and everything. And then, but honestly,
I think Dr. Brian May?
Oh yeah, he is. Yeah, he
does have his doctorate in astrophysics now.
Well, he's had it for a long time, I think. He work on the Mars rover lander, I'm pretty sure.
Well, he worked on one that went out to Pluto.
Yeah, I was thinking he did the Mars rover lander, but I could be wrong on that.
All I know is he's better than us.
yeah. It kind of sucks when you're already writing shit like Bohemian Rhapsody, and you're like, oh yeah, and I put shit in space too, and I can play guitar like a fucking Greek god.
Like the great, one of the greatest, arena bands of all time.
Kristen said, am I wrong? But did I see an Ecto something this weekend? We have a couple Ectos in Wichita. And the thing is, like, these license plate I have, people order these all the time and put them on the front of their cars.
Yeah.
So you may have
did you hear about
this?
Did you hear about the lady who had it was Star Trek. She had NC 1701 or something like that. She had that plate, but then she went ahead and got rid of it for whatever reasons. But she started getting violation tickets in the mail because of other people having just those vanity plates, not the real ones, just vanity plates that you buy offline.
Yeah.
And having those, and because her name was still in the system with that other plate, she was getting violation tickets from other people doing crap.
That makes me not want to get an Ecto one so much, because that's
well, just don't get a New York one.
Yeah. That
I know a dude in Wichita that had a license plate from Las Vegas. It was one of these type of plates, and it said Elvis 1 or something like that. Drove around on that motherfucker for a year and never got busted.
I can see a lot of people don't get their tags run normally. Like with you, they follow you. They look for you. But
anymore, if I know correctly, I believe that the most police departments anymore, especially larger cities, have an automatic system that will scan plates automatically.
Yep. They do now. That got my ass hung up one time too. But yeah, they do now. It used to be just the highway patrol had them, but now regular cops have them. And man, they'll go cruising through the hotels and hitting people's plates, and then sit outside and bust their ass. I mean, they've really gone too far with it.
Yeah, they've definitely now. Okay, let's get off that soapbox. All right.
Sorry, I got my chat to work, so now I'm seeing Carol put. We have one that's blue that said Bad Wolf. Yep. I could easily see that one. But with the not Brian May, with the casting with Sacha Conan Baron. God, how am I gonna fuck that up so many times? Sacha Baron Cohen, right?
Yes.
The casting was great. It is like the only good thing that came out of that series. To the point where I was watching like New Rock Stars and stuff covering it, and I almost got a little mad because everybody's like throwing up like, "Oh, we finally got this Mephisto," which is great. They shouldn't have gave it to us in Ironheart series. That's like giving us an X-Men well, which they did. You know, we get to see our first X-Men in a fucking Marvel's movie. They should have.
Hey, let's look at our first look as Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool in that Wolverine movie.
Which they shouldn't have done.
That was horrendous. But that eventually led to the greatness, which is the Deadpool movies.
Yeah, but not via the studio, via Ryan Reynolds. You know?
Oh, yeah.
You fucked that up so bad.
Because studios know better than the fans. It's the thing I never get. Studios will buy an IP going, oh, there's a lot of fans that love this IP. So let's make a movie about it. But first, let's change it because we can't go by what the fans tell us. We got to go by what we think is right because we want it to have a broader appeal. So instead of taking something that was written well or put together well and then, you know, taking it out to the masses to see, they're like, we're going to change it and even alienate the people that currently love it. I don't understand that.
I respect Ryan Reynolds so much for what he's doing now, but how did that poor dude get lassoed into doing that Deadpool and Green Lantern?
Well, Green Lantern happened because he thought he'd never get Deadpool.
He has wanted for the longest time, I think since Blade, he has
Blade
wanted
3.
Yeah, Blade 3. He has desperately wanted to be play a superhero. All right.
Yeah.
And when someone dangles
And
a
props for
big
bringing
name,
Wesley Snipes back
lots
there,
of
man.
money, you know, production in front of you, you sign up for it. And once you signed up for it, you got to ride the ride all the way to the end. Otherwise, they will sue you for not doing it.
You know what?
Well,
Maybe
and-
I should bite my tongue because of those two roles, he has a lot of creative license in what he does now.
Well,
Because he won't get jacked off like he did before.
some guys pay extra for that.
I know they do.
Well, he's played a number of superheroes before. Those are the two biggest. Green Lantern he did because he didn't think he was going to get Deadpool. When he did get offered Deadpool in the Wolverine movie, they pretty much said, you got to play it. And he tried to give him input. And they said, you got to play it and you got to play it this way, or we're going to have somebody else play it. If you ever want to play this character in the future, then you got to play ball now, is pretty much what they said. So he went ahead and played ball because he thought that was going to go somewhere and that they were going to bring Deadpool back. He was going to talk in the next movie and that he'd be able to get some creative input. Of course, that never happened because the fans all said, you fucked Deadpool up.
Yeah.
And of course, another one where they knew better. And then the only reason we got the Deadpool we did is because somebody, not Ryan Reynolds at all, leaked that footage.
No, not him at all.
We're good.
He would
Wasn't
never
Ryan
do
Reynolds
that.
at all. No.
Yeah.
Not
Now,
at all.
You have to understand, you know, and as much as I'm not on board with how much the studios go ahead and dick around and mess up an IP,
Mhm.
basically you have to realize what they're doing is they just spent a gob of money purchasing an IP. Then they're spending even more money to make whatever they're making. Now, these studios have been around now for over 100 years. Okay. They have 100 years of data. They know basically from, you know, back in the 1940s, they say, okay, this works and makes a movie good. This doesn't work. All right. So they, in order to hedge their bets, they're going to go with what they believe to be the route of greatest revenue. And so they have a whole list of, if we want to make money, it's got to have a love interest. It's got to have this. It's got to have this. It's got to have this. And so they will take that IP and they will try to jam it into that framework, and it completely messes it up. But that's all because,
but what I want to say
they have no, they have no real, what is that? Talent.
Why wouldn't they pay attention to the people who read the comic books? Because I used to read comic books because movies sucked.
Well, they do pay attention to them, but you got to remember too, like when that movie came out, that was 12 years ago or something. No, it was longer than that. That's
longer.
Oh shit, Wolverine Origins. That's damn near 20 years ago, I think. So back then, people like us, we didn't rule the landscape. Pop culture was different back then. We were the guys they all thought lived in our parents' basements and played Dungeons and Dragons with their friends and didn't date women and all that shit. So we were not the demographic they were going for. We're just the demographic that made this particular thing popular.
16 years ago, yeah.
16. So they're, even back then, really it was, well, probably around that time, like when the Iron Man movie came out and stuff. It's the only time they started taking us seriously. and it still took 8 to 10 years for them to start listening to the fans at all, like
And
the Sonic thing or the
keep in
original.
mind, in the past, when they have made, I mean, you have your outliers that kept a genre alive, such as the Batman, the first, several Batman movies. Those were really great. But then you had the other ones that they made during the 90s and the 80s and the 70s that having them go straight to video was an insult to video. I mean, there were some
Yeah.
really freaking bad movies out there. So they had historical precedents that if they make these movies based straight off of the comic books, they lost money.
Right. Just like up till recently, video game movies only lost money.
Mm-hmm.
And really until that Sonic movie came out. And what changed all that? They listened to the fans and changed Sonic. So yeah, before that, comic book movies didn't make money. Hell, even when they did that last Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves,
Yeah.
Tabletop game movies did not make money.
Mm-hmm.
So
Trust me, I had been drugged to several of those Dungeons and Dragons movies in the past, and they were ass. I mean, to quote from my wife, that was an hour and a half of my life I was not getting back.
Actually, the last one wasn't so bad.
The last one was really good.
Yeah.
The Honor Among
Oh
Thieves.
yeah, that one is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 2 or 3 before that, but the last major movie release, what was it? Dungeons and Dragons had one of the Wayans brothers in it.
Yeah, he quit halfway through the movie.
Yeah, that was like one of Frankie's favorite movies.
Well, I believe it.
Like
I
he
mean,
just loved it.
fuck Frankie, man.
We argue about that because I can't say much because like I'll talk Flash Gordon. He'll go, "You want to compare?" And he's got room there.
I do love you, Frankie.
Talking about these IPs can bring me into my other story pretty easy. I don't know how much of the stuff you guys saw with the release of Superman this week, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about the whole new James Gunn DCEU. But one of the things they've ran into this week is the fans coming in to already ratio the movie. Have you seen any of that?
Fans come into what?
Ratio the movie. So it just came out. So podcasters and stuff are getting to see early releases. And I think tomorrow night it goes in the theaters, right? So it got real political. It's very important that Superman does well, because if it doesn't, it's going to fuck over this whole James Gunn universe.
Right.
I mean, they have a lot riding on the future of comic book movies is riding on this movie right now. But unfortunately, a lot of people got involved and decided that it's a political message based on a couple interviews that some of the cast had made. And if you watch the interviews, they're very much just generic singing praise and positivity stuff. But they have a number of supporters, especially Trump supporters, have decided that Superman is about an immigrant, an illegal immigrant, and that it's a pro-propaganda immigration movie. So it is getting raked across the coals horribly right now, and people are already review bombing it, ratioing it and stuff to just for the hate of it, just because it celebrates an immigrant. And
Okay.
that bothers me.
That does bother me as well. It's stupid.
It's
But
very stupid.
I would like to point out that historically, historically, them putting their thumb on the scales either way has not really made that much of a difference.
Well,
All right.
you mean politically hasn't made that much of a difference?
No, I'm talking about when it comes to actually, people going and watching the movie. We have seen movies where they have tried to put their thumb on the scale and say, "Oh, this is a great movie. You're going to love this movie." People watch it and then it comes out, no, it's ass. Or we've seen it the other way where people have tried to, poo-poo a movie and, do that initial, messing with the ratio, bombing on it. And then, as people go out and actually watch it, it swings the other way.
Well, see, I don't know. I've seen the opposite of that last couple of years. I feel, especially with stuff like Snow White, all the bad.
No, see, I don't think that's the opposite of it. I think what it is that's what I was talking about. That first one where they're trying to sway people over and say, "No, it's going to be a great movie. Oh, look at this." all right, and basically buying reviews, all right.
Right.
And then people actually look at it and like, oh my God, I did not know shit came stacked so high. And that's when it crashes and burns. I mean, like with the Captain Marvel stuff, all right. They tried so hard to push a narrative that, oh, this is the best, and if you don't like it, then you are, anti such and such. I mean, they tried to both, carrot and stick it, but that doesn't matter, because if people aren't into it, they're just not going to go spend their money. But if people are into it, they are going to go spend their money.
See, and I think Captain Marvel's a good example, because the first Captain Marvel movie, people rebelled against, especially the fans, but they plopped it right between the two Avengers movies. That thing made $1 billion, the first one, and it was a suck-ass movie. The second one, everybody learned their lesson, and they still tried to do that. Oh, it's going to be a great movie, but of course the fans are review bombing then, and then it did horribly. So here you got two movies that weren't good. They took the same tactic on both of them, and I feel like their tactic of pushing it up and stuff and trying to say you had to watch that one definitely saved that first movie.
It saved the first one, but then people realized after the first one, they were like, we don't care. It's not important enough to the entire universe of Marvel for me to watch another one of these turds. And
I don't know.
To me, I'm looking forward to the new universe of DCEU, and I'm worried just because so much is riding on this that people bringing their politics into fucking Superman, who's been an immigrant since 1933. It shouldn't be brought in, and it could literally, and I know it's a small corner of the cinema landscape of me getting to watch my geeky comic book movies, but I don't want to miss out on something that I'm looking forward to because a bunch of people decide to make it political.
Well, and granted, according to Kristen here, he has always been an immigrant. Ever since back in the 1930s when it started off, he's been an immigrant. But he may have been an immigrant, but he was raised in Kansas, and you don't get much more American than being raised in the middle of the U.S.
But if you think about it, I mean, we got all these great comic covers of him with the flag and everything behind, just to play devil's advocate.
Don't forget,
I don't know.
He punched Hitler.
No, you're thinking Captain America.
Doesn't matter. Hitler got punched.
Yeah, I think if Superman punched Hitler, he'd turn into paste.
Well, he did it gently.
Technically, if Cap punches you, but I know most of my comic lore pretty good. I don't know. Surely it's had to have happened if Superman ever became a legal immigrant, which is an argument that could be had.
Well,
because
to work at the Daily Planet, he basically had to have a social security card and an ID, didn't he?
Well, yeah, but that's Clark Kent. That's not Superman.
So Clark Kent,
was he or was he not adopted by the Kents?
He was adopted by the Kents, but they never, like, anything I know of, and I've got probably 8 different origin stories at least for Superman up there. I haven't seen anything where, like, they went, oh, well, we found like we had a baby that passed away, so we used his social security. Or, how do you go about going, hey, we found a baby in a field, we'd like to adopt it?
No. What you do from back in the day, back before, centralized, networks and stuff like that, what they did is they just said, oh, I was born at this hospital, which happened to have burned down, and all the records are gone. So just go ahead and issue me another one. Thank you.
No, there's still a surprising amount of home births where people have a midwife and have their babies at home.
Well, and I've seen that excuse of where they then kept him for the winter, and then they just told everybody after the winter was over that she had him at home. I've seen that story, but nothing in like the John Byrne, Man of Steel series. Nothing in anything.
At any point, has he married Lois?
What?
At any point did he get married?
Yes. Him and Lois got married.
There you go, right there. If it's good enough for the First Lady, it's good enough for Superman. There we go.
You know what? Has this country gone crazy and totally forgot that not a single one of us can't trace our lineage back to immigrants, including the indigenous that were here before the white people got here? They came across the Bering Land Bridge. We're all immigrants here.
At some point, yeah.
Nah, I'm 8% Sasquatch, bitch.
You could be.
Well, it's not even getting into the argument of, the whole current political climate, which I have my own, haven't come from a family of immigrants. We're first generation here. I have my own opinions, obviously, but it's just the idea of this shit shouldn't be brought into fucking comic book movie, especially if the comic book movie's not putting it in, because that's the problem Marvel's had. They put some of their own politics into the comic book movies, and it has fucked them over. But if it's not the politics of the movie, and it's a central point that has been there for almost 100 fucking years in this storyline, at what point is it okay to just go, oh no, that's just a comic book movie that a bunch of people like, let it go?
Yeah, it's made up.
Yes. I could see it if they were putting it out there that this is like they had a Donald Trump-esque character in there that they were fighting against, or any of that stuff. I could even see the argument there. But literally,
some of these individuals will have a problem with any movie, anything that does not spout party rhetoric, no matter what it says. If it is not actively spouting party rhetoric, this new American fascist party, if it's not spouting their rhetoric, then they have a problem with it.
Well, sure enough, Frankie's on here, and here we just said fuck Frankie, and he missed it. Darn it. Frankie put he marries Lois Lane, doesn't that give him a green card? Yeah, and technically, I guess it would. I mean, I'm sure if I just did a simple Google search, I could find how he was part of it, but how he got his green card. But some of that to me is here nor there. It just, the idea that it's even a fucking topic of conversation. And if you look up the two interviews that I looked up, there may be others out there I'm unaware of. One was with Nathan Fillion. Pretty much they asked him about it, and he laughs. He's like this is ridiculous. And
yeah.
He just does it's a comic book movie, people. We made a fun movie. Let's go watch it. That's what he said. And out of that, they got, it's about immigration. And then James Gunn's brother, they interview, Sean Gunn, and he does go, we support all immigrants. We support, he does show support, but he doesn't say that's what the movie's about. So those two things is what has caused all this bullshit.
No,
I'm sure it'll be gone.
Those two things have not caused it. It's been the other individuals raising a stink. And here's my question now. How much of that is bots raising this up in order to cause more decisiveness and more of a split in the Americans?
And that's
I
a
think
really
this
good
is
point.
all the Chinese.
It fucking could be their studios. It could be a number of things for all I know. But that is a good point. Kristen says,
Yeah.
So we could have just done a fucking episode on how many comic book characters are illegal immigrants. Kristen says Social Security numbers did not start being issued till 1935. So would he have been born before that?
No, because when they first started issuing them, they didn't just issue them to newborn individuals. They issued them to everybody.
Oh, so if he was already born and...
Because I remember seeing, video back then, celluloid. I remember seeing a film of somebody in his 50s or 60s. I have number 3. That's my number. So they didn't just issue it to Bambinos.
And in fairness, that would be hard to apply to the situation, because if I am right on the 1933, even that said, like when John Byrne did Man of Steel, I think that was they said Superman was born in like 82 or something then. And so they retconned when he was born because, it's been 100 years. And, and also that original Superman would have been Superman from Earth 1 and not the Superman we're following now. And fuck, that's technically a whole nother Earth. I guess you could say they do Social Security numbers there different and all sorts of shit.
Or we can just say it's a movie based on a comic book. Shut the fuck up.
That's my whole point right there. It's pull your politics out of my fucking comic books. Let me just enjoy my comic books. But yeah, I wanted to bring it up. I'm sure it's news that'll be gone in a week. But
most definitely. It is the hot topic of right now that is trying to they're trying to distract us from everything else that's going on. And so they're going to continue to try to push, nonsensical hot button topics so we don't pay attention to the real stuff going on.
Well, we only got a minute or two left, but
As I start going down my Bill Hicks, rants.
we get a whole Bill Hicks, George Carlin fucking episode real quick. What was I going to say about Superman? And so the other complaint I had, because then I did go start watching because the only people that were covering it were all very right wing media, and so I went and watched some of that. And
because they don't want you to pay attention to what the American Fascist Party is doing right now.
But it bothered me a lot too, where the last couple Supermans we had, which were Henry Cavill, great movies, I thought.
Yeah.
Well, Batman, Superman, a little rough, but
hey, say what you want about the movies. Henry Cavill as Superman was fucking awesome.
Yes, that's where I was going with it. Yeah. So everybody bitched so they were too dark. Even though Cavill.
It still rankles me, that whole Brit playing an American. All right, as if there's not enough American actors out there begging for a part, but that's just me. All right.
Hey, I know that's been one of your bitches forever, rightfully so. But you can't say that about Harry Potter now, which is having its own controversy this week. But Harry Potter now, they're bringing in American actors left and right.
Yeah, but
because J.K. Rowling's no longer involved in no longer has executive say in it.
Say again.
J.K. Rowling was the one who said no American actors in the original movies. And so since she no longer has that executive power anymore, they're bringing in whoever they want.
Okay.
Which I still think
1938 was
I still think Dumbledore should have been played by John C. Reilly, but that's just me.
That wouldn't be bad, but Nick Frost, I got to say, I'm not a big Harry Potter fan. Not that I'm against it. I like it.
Yeah.
Nick Frost is as
Hagrid?
As Hagrid? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Nick Frost and Hagrid. You couldn't do better than that.
Yeah. Now, Kristen's going to make me look. Oh, this was the other one I did want to bring up. Another perfect casting, I thought. I'm going to try to say his name right. Paul Walter Hauser. You're going to, he's the guy, the little more overweight, large guy that is in the Cobra Kai movies or TV series. He's also,
okay. I know
here's the guy. I'll show you on here. He has been cast.
I got it. Hold on.
Okay, thank you. He has been cast as Mole Man for the new Fantastic Four movie. And I dig this guy as an actor.
Really quickly, how is this futuristic retro thing going to work in the MCU?
Oh, you mean bringing them from the 1960s to here?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've heard a couple different theories. In the original script, what it was going to be is that they were going to have to escape Galactus by going into the quantum realm. And then they sit in the quantum realm till current day because time passes different and they get brought out. Now what they're doing is that now it's a different reality. So I can't say 100% how they're doing it, but I'm going to assume that they simply are going to have to escape because I'm going to think that Galactus takes their planet and destroys it.
Here's what I think they should do. They have right now the Fantastic Four, all right, with this whole thing. They have them in this whole retro tech kind of world going on. I think this is the perfect opportunity for them to bring in the live action Incredibles.
There you go. I take it.
No.
Frankie says, yeah, put most comic books talked about politics, didn't they?
Oh, very much so.
But at 2 points in time around the Comic Code Authority. So back during World War II,
they were used to unite people to a common goal.
Yeah, when you had like Atlas Comics and stuff like that, when Captain America wasn't Marvel yet. So you had politics, but that's because the whole world was politics in the 40s. Everything was. And then you had the Comics Code come in, and they wouldn't let you put anything in until one day DC with Green Arrow said there are subjects such as drug issues and things that need talked about. And they pretty much told Comic Code Authority to fuck off because all of society had said, if you do that, you won't ever be able to publish your comics. DC did it, still published comics. So in the 70s, we got politics again. But we went through about 30 years, no politics in comics at all.
Mm-hmm. Well, in support of World War II, they were used to unite people against a common enemy.
Yeah.
They were used to get people on board for rationing and and scrapping and, you know,
Oh, nothing
victory
like that.
gardens
How many?
and all that kind of shit, you know?
You remember back in the day, when we would watch our Saturday morning cartoons, in order for filler, they would use those old newsreel-esque cartoons.
Right.
All right. So you would see Bugs Bunny going up against the Japs. And boy, were they some racist motherfucking cartoons.
Boy.
There's a lot of those cartoons we can't watch today, though. And that's
No,
why
we
all those
can't.
comic books are
I mean,
so
it's
Yeah.
straight up Song of the South kind of shit.
Yep. I
Berto-
can remember going to the drive-in and seeing that kind of shit between the double feature. You know,
Oh, yeah.
we won't go into the
Let's
concession
all go
stand.
to the
The
live.
drive-in people is a place where you took your car and watched a movie on a big giant screen. Yeah.
We still have it down here in Wichita, dude.
Yeah.
I should also correct myself. When I said there was no politics in comics, there was no politics in major comics during that time that had Comic Code Authority. You always had underground shit. Always.
Oh, of course. I mean, look at what is it, R. Crumb?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got R. Crump shit signed upstairs. I found in a storage unit.
Mhm.
I just throwing it out there because that fucking.
Dude, this is the stuff I'm telling you. You need to start taking pictures of, eBaying that crap.
I need to.
But what was the one?
doing
The thing I wanted to tell you was that I had listened to a podcast several weeks back where they had talked to Jeffrey Katzenberg.
Uh-huh.
That was the name of the artist that they talked to. I mean, of the big guy in cartoons and stuff, Jeffrey Katzenberg.
Okay, Jeffrey Katzenberg. He was big in the 70s, right? He did.
No. No, he's American film producer, 74 years old. He did Shrek, Prince of Egypt, Road to El Dorado, Sinbad.
Oh, he was an animator. Okay,
Yeah.
I was thinking he was the American Splendor guy. My bad.
Yeah, no, he was Shark's Tale, the Shrek, all the way through Shrek 5. But they sat down with him and talked with him, and his thing he was talking about was the impact, because we were talking about before we started, watching some of these AI videos that people are making with VO3, the Bigfoot ones and everything that we all enjoy. But he was talking about where he sees that going to here soon. And he is also on board. He thinks that in the near future, like 95% of the stuff being made will, instead of coming from large studios, will instead come from 1 to 5 man operations who are able to put these things out. And because of that, they're going to have their own vision that won't be constrained by the big studios. So you're going to see a new, not say golden era, but let's say silver or copper era of animated video, where you're going to have more stories being told because people will not be under the thumb of some big corporation in order to get their stuff out.
I agree with that 1,000%. In the late 80s, we had a thing like that with animation, cell animation. And the only thing that really helped it and changed everything was stuff like Liquid Television on MTV, things like that.
Oh, yeah.
These little, and
Eon
these anthology kind of series. Now you don't even need that. We have the internet. We have YouTube.
Banksy was doing it in the 70s, and cartoons at that point were going all adult, and
Fire and Ice, Wizards. Wizards, that is one of the things that has affected me most growing up, was that movie Wizards, because my mommy did not realize,
you son of a bitch.
did not realize that was an adult cartoon. And so it was just some weekend, and it was back in the 70s. So it was, kick your kids out kind of stuff.
Yep.
She drove me and my brother to the movie theater, kicked us out with money so we could go watch this animated movie Wizards, and left. All right. And so we sat there and watched Wizards when it was in the theater, and I was maybe 5 years old.
Wow.
And
He
it
kind of
just
looks like old dude there, doesn't he? Like the
it
Wizard.
just warped my brain. When did Wizards come out?
Oh, God, Wizards had to be 1980, 81, maybe. I don't know.
Wizards.
Berto says, I will buy that
77, so I was 6.
It's real quick, Berto. Wait, when did you say that came out? Sorry,
77.
77. Okay, God, it's older than I thought. Berto had said something. He said, "Oh, I was with you when you saw B versus S, and you loved that." And I was trying to think of what you meant. I was like, "Is this Ballistics versus
Batman
Simmer?
versus
That movie
Superman.
sucked." And it was Batman versus Superman, which I was not a huge fan of. You still enjoyed it, but yeah. Frankie says, "Didn't they already escape in Thunderbolts? Wasn't that the teaser?" I have not yet watched Thunderbolts. With all the anime stuff, I just haven't had a chance. Berto says he'll buy my Crumb work. It's a signature on a cover. It's not if it was an original sketch, I would have already been fucking shopping that shit around.
You'd already be in your Corvette.
Yeah. Kelly says some Star Wars stuff they make is good. Some is,
Yeah.
but for every Andor we get an Acolyte and fucking.
I wish they wouldn't have been so hard on Rogue One and Han Solo. Those were both really
I
good.
enjoyed both those
Okay.
movies.
Han Solo, the problem with Han Solo is, once again, they did that thing where they tried to shove 3 movies into one.
Right. I'll agree with you on that. But it was a good setup for more stuff to follow. You know, they could have really come out and followed with some more Han Solo movies. I think they'd have been great.
I think personally that we should have had a Han Solo movie of him growing up. I think we should have had a Han Solo movie of him, you know, trying to fit in and, you know, being a soldier. And then we should have a Han Solo movie where he makes the move over to being a smuggler.
I'll
would have
agree
been
with
good.
that at the time they were trying to do the same thing that Sony was doing, like with X-Men when they did like that Wolverine Origins. They're like, oh, we're gonna make a Magneto movie and we're gonna make a Deadpool movie and they had all these plans. Same thing with Star Wars. They were gonna make that Obi-Wan Kenobi movie, which we got a series. They were gonna do a Yoda movie. They had all this shit planned. And Han Solo, which is the same thing I'm worried about the Superman movie. Han Solo was the flagship for that. So when it did bad, all that, the Darth Vader movie, all that got canceled. So the plan was, instead of like, let's focus on one character and keep going, we need one movie for Lando, one movie for, each person. And
they were throwing Sketty against the wall, seeing what stuck.
Yeah, hoping to make a big paycheck on every fucking, and instead I think what they've been doing is just running fans away. Even
Kelly wants to point out that he is talking about, when he said some of the Star Wars stuff they make is good, he's talking about the fan-made stuff.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Some of that is really, really
Sorry,
good.
I guess my thing didn't scroll up.
And I say the same thing about Star Trek. If you look at some of the fan-made
some of those are really
stuff
good
on
too.
YouTube right now, it is they are really putting their heart and soul into it.
Yep,
and
they are.
it's looking good.
Yeah, I think that's a way with a lot of fan-made stuff, and that's probably like that animator you're talking about is saying, is that eventually the fans will be running the shows.
Guys, I hate to say it, but I
it's
have
that
to.
time.
Well, I got to go make a phone call. You guys can keep on.
Well, we should
No,
probably
he's
tie
got to
up
go back to
anyway.
the bathroom. Tell the truth.
Shut up. But that's true.
Now we should tie it up anyway. Next
Don't
week,
forget, I sent you that link. So check
I'm
your
gonna
messages.
check it out.
we're going to have a guest on next week, unless the borough says come on up next week and they're all done with the renovations, and we'll go up there and christen that shit and do it. So, sound
Okay.
good? All right.
Yeah, I'm all ready for a guest on. Yep.
All right. Sound good. All right.
Peace.
Catch you guys later. Hugs and kisses.
Love you. See you. Bye.
Bye.
Roberto, you're wrong.
I don't know. He sent me a
Too
cool
late.
thing.
Already.